multiple consistent characters for your images and your videos, and no inpainting required. What? Welcome back to the channel where we discuss the creative uses of AI, and the ongoing quest for consistent characters in your images and particularly videos continues, and some of the major players are stepping up with all kinds of solutions, and the most recent rounds of solutions involved inpainting your second character onto the image along with your first character, which was a fine solution and worked fairly well. And I covered how today's sponsor, OpenArt, implemented that solution in a previous video, but I will recap it real quick here. But first of all, if you're not yet familiar with OpenArts Character Creator, let me show you that first, because that's what makes all of this possible. This is a way to quickly and easily create multiple characters that you can use in your images over and over and maintain consistency. And you can build this character with a text description, one image, or more like a traditional model building with 4 to 20 images. Most of the characters I use here on a regular basis were created with one image. And since it only takes a few minutes to create a character here on OpenArt, let's start the process with a description. Then I'll show you a few things, and we'll come back and those new characters will be done, and then we'll get them to interact. There's several ways to get to this character creation process. We can start right here with Create Image right there from the home page. And then here under Model or Character, we're going to click Switch from whatever the default is. We'll click on My Characters, and we'll have access to all the characters we've created and the ability to create a new one. So let's do that right now. Instead of using an existing image or a set of images, we're going to use a text description here to create some characters. And that's exactly what I did with these characters here, which I'll show you some demonstrations with shortly. But let's just click on Start with the Description. Now, we're going to give the character a name. And those examples I just referenced, those were more creatures. So let's do something more humanoid, but still in the character range rather than photorealistic. And I'll show you why I'm doing that in just a few minutes. So let's just come up with a name like Hergdarg. And instead of just coming up with something on my own, I've created a little prompt over on ChatGPT, which makes this easier and gives us a really nice, rich, detailed description. This is what I used for the first one. I want to create a cute animated character, and I'd like your help in creating a highly detailed prompt for the Flux AI model. I want it to be orange and red, have big cute eyes, antenna, and a fuzzy tail that curls like a pig. It should be irresistibly cute. And this is how I eventually ended up here with Fatudi. I did the same thing with Clankstoffer here, except that I just changed a few of the keywords of the prompt, and that's what we're going to do right now. Instead of a cute animated character, I'll just say an animated character. I want it to be a humanoid alien having big eyes, maybe not antenna. I want to say and a scaly tail. And let's actually make this a male humanoid alien having big cute eyes. We'll just say have big eyes, make it colorful. All right, let's just see what this does with that. Okay, so now we have this more complicated prompt, a male human alien character with an imaginative and colorful design, should have large expressive eyes, etc. Let's just copy that, go back over here and put that into the description for the character. Once you type in the description, you're going to choose a style. And as I mentioned before, I'm actually going to choose more of a cartoonish or a character style. Right now, we'll choose Pixar and we'll click on Create Previews. It's going to give us 3 to choose from. And if we don't like those, we can just have it keep generating till we find one that we like. So, okay, this one actually looks like a female version right now. I'll click Regenerate just to show you what it will do. Okay, and now we have these to choose from. I'm going to go ahead and go with this one here. I'm just going to click it, and then I'm going to create character. And that's all I have to do, except wait 5 to 10 minutes for it to happen. So let's create a female companion for this person. We will go, and her name will be Feldaspore. And I'm just going to go over here and say again, but make the female. Rather than me just changing male to female, let's see what else it does to make it a little bit more embellished. All right, we'll copy this, put that in the description. Since they're going to live in the same universe here, I'm going to go ahead and choose Pixar for the style there too, and create previews. This one almost looks too thin. Let's do a few more. That's interesting down there. I think I'll go with this one here. All right, so I'll just choose that and click on Create Character. Now, while those are cooking, let's look at some of the ones I've already done. As I always like to do with my little show and tells, I'm going to walk you through the progression of my going through this and experimenting, and you will learn from my mistakes and get some tips and tricks along the way. First, let me show you how to use a character in an image, and then how you can now add a second character. Previously, if you wanted to use your character, you would be in the image creation section. You'd click on Switch here and go to your characters and choose the one you want. Let's just say Fatudi here. And then in this case, I'm going to click Prompt and Reference. And you'll see that Fatudi is here with a little @ sign on it. This is how you put the character in. If I was to blank this out and click on the @ sign, Fatudi is going to automatically pop up. So I would say Fatudi is sitting in a bar looking around for someone. Go ahead and change this to cinema mode and click on Create. So now here are a couple of images of Fatudi sitting on a bar looking around for someone. So you can see it absolutely maintained that character in both images, and it's exactly what we and it looks just like the image that we put in there to create the character. Now before, if we wanted to add a second character here in OpenArt, we could do that by placing another character on this image, essentially in painting. So to do that, I would save this image out to my hard drive. I'm going to click this back arrow here to move back one menu, and then I'm going to go to Place Character in Image. Now I want to choose the character that I want to put in there. Let's say it's Flurp. Then I'm going to click on Place Your Character. I'm going to click on Upload Image and choose the image that I just saved, and then put Flurp wherever I want him here. Okay, let's just say he's sitting on the bar next to whatever this one's name is, and we'll click on Save Placement. It says Flurp is sitting in a bar looking around for someone. It basically replaced the previous character name with Flurp, and this is the prompt I want to use, so I will just click on Create. Note that I've got the weight of the Flurp model all the way up, which is a best practice for when you're doing inpainting. We'll click on Create and see what happens. Okay, so we got a couple of results. Not totally perfect here, but there's Flurp. He's actually behind the bar now, and then there's the other take. That actually looks more like the reference image. If you've got any experience with inpainting and these types of technologies, you're going to know that just like any other AI generative art, it's often going to take multiple generations to get what you want. It doesn't mean the technology is broken. It's just how things are. So this is a perfectly fine way to add a second character. It's just a lot of steps. Now we don't have to do that anymore. Let's go back here and create from prompt and reference again. And under where we have our current character, we now have add character. At this point, we can only add one, but let's go ahead and scroll down. In this case, we'll click on Magic Bob, and I'll change the prompt and say Flurp is sitting at a bar with Magic Bob, and they are drinking wine. Don't know. So one prompt, two characters, go. Although OpenArt has a blazing fast image generation engine, when you're dealing with multiple characters, it's going to take a little bit longer than you're used to, but it's still pretty fast. So here we go. We're getting our images, and now with the one prompt, we have Flurp is sitting at a bar with Magic Bob, and they are drinking wine. So again, for every image, they may look slightly different, but we are getting there. I didn't have to do any inpainting, and we have multiple characters who are maintaining, for the most part, the look of their original model. Now, the reason I'm working mostly with these animated and more character-y images is because even though you absolutely can do this with photorealistic images, it struggles more than with the other ones. And it also can struggle when you mix types, an animated image with a photorealistic image. And then that's when you can use inpainting to solve that problem. Let's just try this real quick. Instead of Magic Bob, let's just use Real Bob, okay? And we'll say that Flurp is sitting at a bar with Bob 1 and they are drinking wine. So this is the more photorealistic version of me, and we'll see what it comes up with. And while these are going, here's another tip. Now, OpenArt has said in their documentation that when you are doing this process with these multiple characters, that the prompt is automatically enhanced. Now, prompt enhancement is something that is a feature here that when you click on Prompt Enhance and you click it, it will take your prompt and guess what? That's right, enhance it. Now, I have found that even though they say that it's already enhanced, that if I enhance the prompt and click Quick Enhance and then generate with that, I get what I feel is a better image and a wonderful prompt for when I'm generating video, because that's something that's built right in here to the platform. I'm going to show you tons of examples of using images that with multiple characters that we've created here and then bringing them to life using either Kling or the Hailuo Minimax model that is built into the OpenArt platform. I'm going to go ahead and create that, but let's look at what we've got here with these. So now there's Flurp, and then there is me-ish, right? It's a little bit weird looking. It doesn't really look like me as much as the other model, and we've got some confusion here. It does a great job with Flurp. It's me that it struggles with bringing that in. So now we've got two of me drinking wine. Flurp is now a cardboard cutout, and I don't know what's going on there. So that's why I'm saying it's sometimes better if you don't mix styles just like that. You can get some pretty interesting results, as you will see in some of my later examples. But let's just see how this enhanced prompt affected this image. Now, it's probably not going to affect the quality or the realism of me. It's probably just going to be a more interesting image. The prompt really comes into play, I found, when you take that prompt and drop it into the animation generator. Well, I think it does look better. I'm not saying that it looks more like me, but the images in general are more crisp. There's still two of me. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm mentioned in the prompt a couple of times. Maybe if I simplified the prompt where I'm not repeated, that might help that. But here's another one, and another one. So even though it's not exactly the effect I was looking for, it's pretty cute. And as I keep saying, it's going in the right direction. But let me show you a whole slew of examples of all different styles, some of which worked great, some of which worked not that great, but I could fix. So let's go through this. This first example was combining Tess here and the Bob Troll image. And again, this was my first iteration here, and Bob Troll is more of a 3D character and Tess is more of a photorealistic character. So we've combined traits here. It's actually not bad. It's just that it's changed the original look of this fairly significantly. But if this was just going to be a standalone animation or something, it'd be fine because you don't have anything to compare it to. So I'm just going to flip through these here. Now, this was, again, combining Flurp with this Bob Troll. Basically the same kind of styles, and it did a much better job. This was Flurp and Bob Troll are standing in line at a donut shop looking at their phones. And just to show you, these are extremely high-resolution images. I can't even fit them all in the screen here if I blow them up. So they're very, very high quality, even without any kind of upscaling, which is a built-in feature here if you want to. So here's another fun one. And obviously, it would be better if Flurp looked the same in every image. But I got to tell you, this is great creative inspiration, and there's so much that can be done with these, and they acknowledge that it's not perfect, and this is a major focus for them because they're really committed to creating an end-to-end filmmaking solution. There's just so much character in all of these, even though they're not exactly perfect in terms of what I was going for. I mean, look at that. That's so fun. I can't even stand it. I have to go animate it right now. So I'm going to borrow this prompt right here, just copy it there, go over here to the image to video section. I'm going to use the Kling model. I'll open up the prompt section, paste that in right there, let it be. Even though it says Flurp and Bob and all that stuff, it's not referencing these models. I don't want you to think that from this video prompt, but it knows that there's characters to work with. I've tried it. It doesn't matter if I leave it in there. It's certainly not going to mess it up. I leave everything else just about how it is. I'll go with the Pro model just to get the best possible generation here. Just go with 5 seconds. We'll start that and we'll revisit it later. So here I tried mixing Flurp with this more photorealistic picture of me in 6th grade. This was a character that was, again, just created from one image. But the influence of Flurp really took over and made all of the boys pretty much some version of an animated boy. Not that I couldn't use this for something, it's just not exactly what we're going for. So I'll use this example here to show how you can do a quick fix for this by using INPAINTIng. Basically, I'm going to do just what I showed you before. I'm going to download the image. I'll pop back over to this main screen, click on Place Character in Image, choose Bob 6th grade, and place your character. I'll upload this image, and I'm just going to place this over the head, say placement, and just get rid of all of this stuff, and I'm just going to say looking at his phone. So those are a little closer. They are still a little bit exaggerated. I won't take the time to reprompt them right now, but you can see how this will work. On this one, we put Bob Scientist and Magic Bob together on the beach, and I think they worked out. When you're working with similar styles, it just works wonderfully, particularly if they have distinctly different physical descriptions. It does much better when they are distinct characters. Here I sent this one to video. I used the Kling model Pro version. Here's the full res version of it right here, so it looks fantastic. Here I was combining Tess with Magic Bob, again attempting to blend styles, and what it basically did was make her a little bit more cartoony. This is still pretty good. It's just not really photorealistic, but I think it's a nice compromise. I like the styling of her in this. This one too. It's just fun. This one's almost photorealistic here, but then we've also got him a little bit compromised too from his original style. Here I tried to take me and Tracy and do a kiss, and it doesn't really look like either one of us. I used the Bob 1 character and her Tracy Star character, which by themselves look great, but in this particular instance, it didn't really translate into us looking like that. Same thing here. I was trying to combine Tracy with Tess, and let's just look again at what Tracy's model looked. This is the picture for Tracy, and it didn't really translate as well as the one for Tess, even though the hair, I think, is what makes it really look like her in this case. But you can see here, she does pretty well. The Tracy likeness doesn't really transfer. Here's a version of this animated, and I threw some Bigfoot in there for good measure. Here we've got Flurp and Troll Bob again. Troll Bob changes pretty significantly, but we've got them on a roller coaster together. Again, he has a fairly different look there. But the prompt was Bob Troll and Flurp are riding next to each other on a roller coaster, arms in the air. The original Flurp character had a ukulele, and that's why he's showing up with one all the time. Here we sent them through the animator. Even though we got a little bit of tearing here, it's still fun action. We're asking it to do a lot with a fast roller coaster ride. This is the Hylua Minimax model. Here I tried to combine the Presley model with the Bob Troll model. And we've got more photorealistic stylizations of both of them. That doesn't really look like her. It has the basic idea then that she has black hair. But when you go through these, they don't really look like her. And the Bob Troll is also a little bit strange. But this is an example where I use the INPAINTIng technique to replace Presley's face, and it worked. Although that's a little bit exaggerated, it still worked and has her likeness. And then here it is animated with the Kling standard model, not the Pro. And the prompt was just that she was being interrupted by Bob Troll as she's trying to read. Here's a version with the Pro model, which looks a lot better, although we got a little bit of weird facial stuff going on at the beginning. But her animation and her face and everything like that look fantastic. And the resolution is amazing. There's another example where I replaced the face to get the likeness better, and then gave it the prompt, woman is being bothered by a troll who keeps trying to take her book. This was done with the Pro models. Let's enjoy it in its full resolution glory here. And this is a series of the weirdest fails in this process that I had. I actually created these three characters using Snapchat filters. You know how Snapchat makes your face all kinds of weird and distorted? I just took a single image of my face and created characters out of them, and I wanted to combine Chinley here with Crandall. And I had Crandall as looking annoyed at Chinley, who is throwing food at Crandall in a country kitchen. Crandall seems to maintain pretty well, but as we go through, we'll see that Chinley, he has all kinds of looks. This is more of a combination. We got just twisted, crazy. I mean, I want to animate all these because they're just insane. But comparing my output here to what I got on my mind, didn't really happen. Now, a lot of times you can play with the resolution or the aspect ratio of these images and get slightly different results. I won't say better all the time. There's not really much I'm doing with these two except just showing you how crazy they are. I did attempt an animation with two crazy looking men are throwing food at each other. This is the Kling Pro model. So the top and the bottom are being cut off because of the aspect ratio I chose. But again, this is just, I don't know, just more of these two characters. Now, actually, these look a little bit better. This is a different aspect ratio, and it seems to handle them better. They both look like who they're supposed to look like. Not so much in this case. And here he is in the sink. So I know I'm kind of giving this a hard time here, but we knew going in that it can have problems with this kind of thing, but I just had to play with it anyway. Now here, it did a stellar job. We've got Flurp and we've got Irma Illustrated. So Irma Illustrated is down here. She was the very first character I ever did on this platform using a text description and a good friend Flurp. And it was Irma Illustrated is looking annoyed at Flurp, who is throwing food at Irma Illustrated in a country kitchen. That's the most simple version of the prompt, and it followed it exactly. I'm discovering now that as I look back at these, this was my original prompt, and this is the enhanced prompt that they automatically came up with. So they actually do enhance the prompt. I just found that when I enhance it on top of it, just seemed a little bit better. I don't know why. As I'm scrolling through these, you can see that in both cases, except for this one, he's kind of a different creature, but Irma Illustrated maintained her consistency pretty well, and Flurp does a pretty good job too. This is one where I manually enhance the prompt. And again, I just like the details more. I think they're just a little bit richer. It's still basically her serving food in this restaurant, but I just feel like it's getting more details and richness than those other examples that I did. So another example, boy, it takes that ukulele everywhere. Threw a couple of these through, and this is the Kling standard generation with a little bit more tearing in the extreme movements than we get with the Pro version. And the prompt was for him to be eating this bread, and actually he's just levitating it and vanishing it into thin air. That's probably a Kling/my prompting skills issue. Now here's a Pro generation where I used the enhanced prompt that created the image as the prompt for the video, and I just feel like it makes a huge difference. It really looks consistent. There's virtually no tearing in here. The characterization is great. We've got the steam. This is impressive. Now here I thought I'd try to combine photorealistic in terms of the Bob model and then this one here called Robbie, which is sort of photorealistic but clearly a character and more animated in nature. So I wanted to see how we could combine them. We get a pretty good likeness of the Robbie character, and I'm still this weird sort of version of me. Here they just sort of combine them completely. Robbie's not even in this one. And we've got this sort of strange combo. This is when I started playing with these characters, Fatootie and Clankstoffer, that I created. You can see our other ones are done up here, so we'll get to them shortly. So first I combined Fatootie with Flurb, and we've seen a lot of Flurb. And they're out there playing mini golf. He's got his musical instrument. But you can see that these two types of styles do very well together. The consistency is pretty good. And now we've got some animations here. This was a Kling standard generation with just the basic prompt. And this is standard generation with the enhanced prompt. So you can judge for yourself whether you think it's better or more coherent or just more interesting to look at. There's definitely more movement in the windmills than in the previous one. And in general, I just think the enhanced prompt makes it a lot better video. So now instead of Flurp, I use the new one, Clankstoffer. This is what Clankstoffer looks like here. And as we go through these, you can see that even though sometimes it changes the height, that's probably more because of the aspect ratio I created. It was trying to fit the character in the picture I said to do, and that's why it probably squashed him down. But all the other characteristics are there and maintained. And of course, Fatootie stays the same as well. So we took that, ran it through the Pro model. This is just with the simple prompt and not the enhanced prompt, by the way. Now I've got Magic Bob and Clankstoffer, and I've got Magic Bob is holding Clankstoffer in his arms as they walk through a carnival by the beach, and I really loved how these turned out. Again, the consistency with the originals is very, very good. It just really works well when you use these kind of characters. That's a little bit of an anomaly there. Here you can see I did my own enhanced prompt and it changed things up a little bit. It's just something about the colors or something. It could be totally my imagination, but I just feel like these enhanced prompts are better images. Here we got a couple of Clankstoffers. It's almost like he won a Clankstoffer doll for the real Clankstoffer. almost. So just super cute. So here they're walking together. This is the Hilo Minimax model, not Kling. And this one is the Kling Pro model. For 10 seconds. I love this one because it's, first of all, the walking of like this woman is amazing. All of the activity going on back here. The waves look beautiful. But when he picks him up, it's like he's nagging him for something, and he doesn't want to make a big scene. He's like, let me pick you up here. And then he whispers very threateningly, if you don't stop making a scene, I'm going to take you into the car. I'm going to leave you there while I go get ice cream. Something like that. See, if you don't stop it. Anyway, you get it. Here we had some interesting issues with combining Klankstoffer and Tess. The angle here was not flattering for her, and when we translated it to video, which I'll show you in a second, it didn't do well. I love this one, even though it doesn't look photorealistic. I like the way that it borrowed the style, and wait till you see the animation with this one. Here's another take. Again, it's not the photorealistic version of her, but this is still fun. So here I used the standard Kling model to bring this particular image to life, and I just don't think it was very flattering for Tess when she turns. So I used this with the Pro model, and this looks great. And I love it. It looks like this guy would say, I'm going to go approach her. I'm going to go get her number. And then he chickens out. Oh, shit. Never mind. I got to go. Now working with Bob, Scientist, and Robbie again to try to get them in the same place at the same time, doing some pool playing, maintaining consistency. Does a better job with the Mad Scientist, I think, in terms of consistency. I ran another Kling Pro animation using the enhanced prompt and got this. Doesn't really know how to deal with the billiard ball at this point. It just sort of did that, whatever that is. I don't know what you'd call that. Is this a ball in hand for this guy or what? Anyway, he's obviously being very annoying. Which brings us back to Fatootie on the bar. So let's go check in on the characters that we created. We will switch to my characters. And here we have Feldspar and Hergdarg. So let's just click on Feldspar. And we'll go to prompt and reference. We'll say Feldspar is cooking a fried egg while. Then I'm going to click on add character. I'm going to add Hergdarg reads out of a cook. Choose cinema and create. Okay, so there we go. Feldspar is cooking a fried egg while Hergdarg reads out of a cookbook. We don't have Feldspar in this one. There we go again. And this is like almost like Flurb came in, but no. So we got a great one right here. So here's the enhanced prompt that it created on its own. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to take this over to image to video, paste that in the prompt there, just let it be. And just do 5 seconds, go pro, and we'll wait for this. And while we're waiting, we can enjoy this one that we started earlier. This was Flurp and Bob Troll standing side by side in a cozy, bustling donut shop and the blah, 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 blah. And here it is in all of its high resolution glory. Again, we're cutting off the very top and the very bottom because it's just too high res. But we even got this movement of like the cashier or whatever behind the counter. And even the thumb movement with the scrolling. It's great. Okay, for some reason that got the failure to pass the risk control system. I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe there's something hidden in this prompt that is just a little bit questionable. So instead, I'm just going to say a lizard couple is preparing a breakfast of fried eggs. And we'll go with that. So there you have it, what I think is pretty much state-of-the-art in terms of creating multiple characters in one pass with one prompt, and as I say, they are going to add the ability to do more than 2 characters, along with a lot of other incredible plans for their video platform, including lip sync coming in April. So stay tuned for all of that. If this is the type of thing you like to learn about, well, why not subscribe to this channel, because this is what we cover all the time.
If you subscribe now, I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you do not, I will look for you. I will find you, and I